So the last animation we're going to do is we're going to perform a standing jump. So let's do it. So from the previous lecture we've got our bow. Now we're going to do a standing jump. Now I don't think his head needs to be tilted, so we're going to sort these out. We can bring them up quite straight. And now we can grab our side bones and bring these up. I think that looks excellent. Now if we press 1, as you can see, it's slightly tilted, so we need to make sure that that's not the case. Now it's tilting slightly the other way. There we go, excellent. Now what we're going to do here is we're just going to grab this bone, bring it alongside, and what we need to do now is, if we can rotate, we're almost in a very good position actually. What I want to do is I want to grab these two bones, and if we grab, let's see what happens. That's very good. So if we grab those two bones, we can move it down. But then of course we also need to grab all of the bones above. So if we press C, we can bring these all down at the same time by pressing G. And that looks fantastic. We've got to be careful at the front, but that's looking pretty good so far. And we're going to grab the two IK bones, and we're just going to grab to bring them down. And for a standing jump, when we bend our legs, we normally bring our hands in. So I'm going to grab one at a time and bring it in. And we also bring our arms behind us. So let's bring these two back behind us. Obviously, as you can tell by the fact that I'm not instructing too much, this is the sort of thing that does require quite a bit of concentration just to make sure you get it right. But that's looking, if we zoom in, that's looking very, very good. Now, this isn't going to be the start of our animation. The start of our animation is going to be normal standing motion. But this is the starting point of the jump. So this is going to be 30 frames in for me. I'm going to do this 30 frames in. I'm going to tilt this head slightly forward. And what's going to happen is we're going to make a jumping motion into the air, and then he's going to come back down. So we're going to select everything with A. That's a very good position actually, if I say so myself. We're going to apply location, rotation, scale there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to reach the point where he's made the jump, which is going to be in frame 60. So first things first, we're going to grab and bring these up. Arms go nice and high into the air. Doesn't really matter how it goes at this point. Get the body to be nice and straight at this point. Once we're in the air, we want our body to be nice and straight. So we're going to just rotate that up. Next, I'm going to press the C key. Grab all of these up to the thighs, and we're going to grab them and bring them up. Get it to it's about straight. And then we may notice that if we move, particularly with this foot, if we move it too far forward, there's a bit of deformation. But don't worry too much about the deformation. As I said, we don't need to worry about that at this point. But let's make these nice and straight. And now I'm just going to move these up just so that our arms become more natural again, so that they twist in the air, so that they go back to normal. I've just noticed that this one's too far forward, so this will happen many times in your animation projects. The entire body there for me at the top seems to be too far forward, so we're going to press C, grab everything, and we're going to just rotate that. There we go. And then now we're going to grab absolutely everything. We're going to move this up, and now we've got a little bit of a problem, and we don't know why. This foot seems to be very, very sticky. Doesn't seem to want to move at all. So let's go into object mode, and then if we go into weight paint mode for our object, let's have a look. There doesn't really seem to be anything wrong there, which is a bit weird, slightly glitchy. So let's go back. We can see the problem here with the deformation. Not really entirely sure why that's happening on one side and not the other. But if we go back into pose mode and we grab the mesh, that's very strange. If you're finding this issue too, we're not really going to worry too much about it at this point. I'm just going to rotate that, and that makes it worse. So the fact is, if I stood here trying to figure this issue out, we'd be here forever. So we're just going to leave it like that. So we're going to select everything, and we're going to hit I, insert location, rotation, scale. And it's almost a standing jump. Obviously it's not quite the jump because we've left it there due to the issues with that foot, but this is basically the animation that we want. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to go to scene 1, and we're just going to get him to be standing up straight. So we'll rotate that up, bring these in, and we're going to press C, select, grab to bring them up, we grab to bring this back, and then R to rotate. It's all a very what's the word I'm looking for here, guys? Meticulous process animations and rigging, because you want to make sure that everything's correct, you want to make sure everything's right, and there's a lot of focus that's involved. So what I'm going to do here, because that foot is really starting to bug me, I don't know if it's bugging you guys on your projects, but we're just going to select everything here and grab and just move it down a bit, just trying to get that foot right. Very awkward, isn't it? Okay, so let's see how that works. And let's play the old animation. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, but we can obviously see that we've got problems with this right foot, which now causes problems with the right knee, which kind of jars forward. Now, you wouldn't want that in a clear-cut animation, so as a challenge, I'm going to leave that to you to try and figure out what you can do. This is your first external challenge as well. Don't forget, it's not just on Udemy where you can find Blender courses, you can also do this on YouTube as well. There are plenty of rigging tutorials with regards to rigging and weight painting. So, my challenge for you is to try and figure out what the issues are and to try and solve them. And if you can do that, post your animations in the discussions and it will be fantastic for us all to see. Thanks guys, see you in the next lecture.